1946 was a year of significant global and cultural shifts. It was a time marked by the conclusion of the Nuremberg trials, the founding of the United Nations, and the beginning of the Cold War. Although these major events were unfolding globally, at the same time, local institutions like Winnebago Lutheran Academy were laying the groundwork for their future growth and success. In 1946, WLA experienced their first full circle moment as Frank Diedrich, a proud alumnus from the class of 1941, returned to his roots, becoming the first WLA graduate to join the teaching staff. His dedication set a precedent for future alumni contributions, which are still felt today. 1946 was also a pivotal year for expansion. A reading from the dedication booklet states, "It is true that after the Academy was firmly established, it became clear to many that someday there would have to be a new building. When the enrollment increased considerably after World War II, the question became one that had to be faced by those who wanted to continue Christian education for the high school pupils of this area. The word had spread so that there were more and more students coming from some distance. So it was that in 1946, the Academy Board proposed to the association that sketches of a new building be prepared and that the Fond du Lac area be canvassed in an effort to find the funds necessary to construct an adequate building. There were many who were bitterly disappointed when the pledges from this drive totaled only $21,914. It was obvious that no building could be constructed for that price. It was, however, most fortunate that the effort was made at that time. It was then that an ideal piece of property became available on the eastern edge of Fond du Lac. The property was available, and thanks to the drive of 1946, the money was there to make the purchase. A tract of 12 acres was purchased. The geographical lines of that property have changed somewhat since that time. There was only a very small piece of that property that gave access onto Merrill Avenue. When the city of Fond du Lac asked to buy one corner of the 12 acres for a water reservoir, the association received a stretch of land along Merrill Avenue in exchange. Since that time, the remaining lots on Merrill Avenue were purchased so that today the Academy has an unbroken frontage. Over the next few years, the building project would face some adversaries, but by 1953, the building project gained momentum once again. With $161,380 pledged by generous supporters and 6 congregations rallying with a pledge of $124,319 in 1954, the dream of a new campus was coming closer to reality. On July 25, 1954, groundbreaking ceremonies were held, marking the official start of construction on the Merrill Avenue campus. This event was a significant milestone, celebrating the collective effort of the community. 1954 also saw a major organizational shift with the adoption of a new constitution. The WLA Association transformed from an organization of individuals into one of congregations, holding its first plenary board meeting on October 18th. The culmination of these efforts arrived on June 5, 1955, with the dedication service for the new Academy building. It was a day of celebration and pride for everyone involved. Just 2 days later, on June 7, 1955, the WLA class of 1955 held their graduation service in the new school gymnasium and auditorium, a first for the Academy, which had previously held ceremonies at St. Peter's Church since 1929. 1955 marked a notable year as the Wisconsin Synod launched a 1-year college extension program through Dr. Martin Luther College in Minnesota to address the teacher shortage. 17 girls joined the program, many living in the new dormitory at 81 Park Avenue. Alongside academic growth, WLA's athletic teams achieved new successes, and students excelled in the fine arts, particularly music and drama.
The main thing I was involved at the Academy was choir. As a freshman, you couldn't be in concert choir, but you were part of the student choir, so that was everybody at the school. So I did that. And then sophomore, junior, senior year, I was in concert choir, and that was probably my favorite thing. In order to fit concert choir into my schedule, I only had one or at the most two study halls a week. So I had a lot of homework. But I loved the choir. I loved the people in it. They were all my good friends. And so it was fun, we'd hang around together and goof off a little bit until Pastor Zipperbeer would come in the door, and then we'd have to behave ourselves. It's pretty strict, but it was just fun. You were doing something with your classmates and your friends. You made some very good friends that I'm still friends with.
We're the first group that went all 4 years to the new building at that time. And so initially the walls were still not all painted. And so when we had dramatic stuff and plays and things of that nature, they had the curtains, we had props. But most of the stuff was costumes that people used. And so there was no scenery really that was built. And even through the 4 years I was there, I don't believe we ever had real scenery there. We had good plays, and it was always interesting because the senior play was kind of a highlight for the class in the end, so that we had a good time with that. I was involved with basketball as the basketball manager. For 3 years we did that. And so I got really know the basketball game pretty well. And Coach Zeibel at that time, I helped with the B team scores or playing, so coaching those guys somewhat. We didn't have the stuff that we have today. And like the basketball when I was there, it's a lot different than what it is now. But it was a good experience because we had the opportunity to go to Fox Valley High School, we'd go to Wisco, and we also went to Watertown to prep for some basketball games there. So it was a big deal. It was basketball there because there was no football at that time. Winnebago, even though we didn't come back here that often because we did not live close by, it still is a big spot in my heart. Think about Daly, our good friends. I'm in charge of a number of the alumni reunions that we had. And, it's like talking to these kids, our classmates in 1955 and 1959. And I think that's special. Not every school has that.
From its humble beginnings to a thriving educational institution, Winnebago Lutheran Academy's history from 1946 to 1965 is a testimony to the vision, hard work, and dedication of its community. These years laid a solid foundation for future growth and success. By 1965, WLA had 735 graduates that would only see the number increase greatly over the next few years.